Beginning right? Good? Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us. First press conference of the new season. We'll kick it off to Coach Brooks for a couple opening remarks, and then we'll, if you don't mind, raise your hand for questions.
Thanks for coming out, and obviously we're excited about the upcoming year. Kids are rolling in this past week, and so we've been able to start preseason, summer workouts. Attitudes have been tremendous, and I couldn't be happier with the group and the way that they're working, how they're working, the development that they've had. So we're excited. We're very excited for the year, and we think it's going to be a good one.
Raise your hand for questions. We'll go here and then
Coach, I know you're excited to talk about this year's team, but Georgia suffered that injury right before the WNBA season started. Could you kind of talk about how you felt when you heard that news and kind of how you helped her get to the point where she's at now and kind of recovering and getting back?
Yeah, heartbroken. Obviously, Georgia's put in a lot of work. Last year was a difficult year in the sense that I felt the responsibility to make sure that she was still on a trajectory to achieve her goals. And, so she took a blind leap of faith to follow me here. And so we worked diligently to get her acclimated to the SEC, the style of play, all the while still able to enhance her abilities and her projection to be a WNBA draft pick. I thought the season went perfect. She learned a lot. She put herself on a different stage. And, that day when it happened, she texted me and she said, "Hey, just want to let you know, hyperextended my knee, nothing big. They're gonna give me an MRI. I'll let you know how it goes." She FaceTimed me that night, and as soon as her face popped up, I could see the emotion. She was crying. And from that point on, I was a basket case. And then from that point, I think the roles flipped, and she was consoling me. And very quickly, she told me everything was going to be okay. She was going to learn a lot this year. She was going to do different things. And, kudos, shout out to the Mystics. They really took care of her. She went to New York to have her surgery. They kept her on the roster. They keep her involved very much so throughout the year, throughout the season, because she's a big part of what they're going to do. So very happy for her that she landed in a great spot. She's doing wonderfully. She's actually in New York today getting a checkup. And she's going to be able to, I guess the silver lining is she'll be able to come back to some games next year and sit in on what we're doing. But tremendous person, and the way that she's handled everything was way better than I ever could have imagined.
Not to keep harping on the past, but obviously she was so influential in the way you guys played last year, and she was the leader on and off the court. How weird is it not having her for you specifically, since you guys been together for so long? But then also with her leaving, talk about the two ladies to the left and right of you, them filling that role and them becoming star players as well.
She's still here. She left the foundation, and Tiani, we were working out today, and I think I said her name twice. Just talking about how she did things, how she approached everything. So it is weird that she's not here, actually physically present in my office every day, but we still talk 4 or 5 times a day. She left a lasting impression on both of them and the whole team. Just the way that she went about her business, she worked hard, she was fearless. Every time she walked on the floor, she was prepared, and she knew she was prepared. She knew that she could go out and she could win. And I think that was a great lesson for them, and they're going to be able to, the torch has been passed to, these two young ladies for their leadership qualities, the way that they act, the way they impose their attitude on the team. And I think Georgia left a lasting foundation for that for years to come. They'll carry it on and put their spin on it, but I think that's something culturally Georgia really helped it. Deja Lawrence did as well, and those two really helped the foundation for our culture.
Caroline.
Coach, you talked about preparation. What are you hoping to get out of these summer workouts, summer practices, and what do you want to see from this group?
Stay healthy. Continue to develop their games, their attitudes, and we've only been at it for a week, and I've been super impressed. Not only with their physical abilities, the talent level, but their attitudes. Kind of like iron sharpens iron. And if Clara's in there working out, Tiani or the rest of the groups in there watching, nobody comes in, gets their time in, and then they're leaving. They stick around, they watch, they assess, Clara just told me that Tiani looks good, and Tiani will, say that somebody else looks good. And I think that, is a foundation for success. So, this week, the next 2 weeks, we'll do a lot of individual improvement. Then we'll start going into small groups, and then we'll start getting into teamworks, probably mid-July, early July. But, get through, get in great shape, get stronger, and stay healthy.
We'll go John, and we'll go to Catherine.
Clara and Tiani, today in college basketball, it's so easy to kind of jump to another school, and with as talented as you two were, we wouldn't blame you if you entertained other offers, and yet you guys both came back. How difficult a decision was that, and what went into your decision making?
I never really even considered that as an option, I would say. Obviously, I came here with Coach Brooks. I have my full trust in my journey through college basketball with Coach Brooks, so I don't think I even considered that at all. Definitely not a hard decision for me.
Yeah, I would say the same. It wasn't a hard decision at all. I think coming in last year, being my first year with the staff and Coach Brooks, just seeing them, learning them, knowing them, I think they're one in a million people. They're great people on and off the court, so I think that wasn't even anything to entertain, honestly. I knew this was home, being with them.
Coach, I actually have two questions. First, continuity. You got a nice core coming back. Mark talks about this all the time too, with returning guys. What will we see from that, and how does that help you, having these key players come back for year two?
Well, continuity was probably one of the biggest reasons for our success last year. And obviously it was in a new environment, new uniforms, new everything, other than the fact that there was a lot of familiarity with, a lot of our players, that we brought from Virginia Tech who had signed with us to go to Virginia Tech who I've known since they were 11 years old. So that enabled us to build that trust. I think it's going to be a key for us this year. As you mentioned, there's a lot of movement in college basketball. And although we did add some very important pieces, the core, we have a good core back, a core that understands exactly what we want, how we want it, who's actually been through it here at the University of Kentucky. So no longer are we going to go and not know what the SEC is going to be like, not knowing what crowds in Memorial are going to be like. So that familiarity is great. So I think it does give us a leg up, on a lot of the competition, because a lot of our key players, they know exactly what's expected of them, and they'll be able to provide even more. So that's something that we're going to hang our hat on in order for us to have success right out of the gate, just understanding each other, and that's a big factor. And when we had the core come back, that we knew that we were going to be a step ahead.
Hi, Dick Jordan.
I don't want your secrets, but what did you learn out of year one that you tweaked for year two, being in the SEC?
Yeah, obviously, we had a phenomenal year, 11-5, and just understanding the physicality, the level of play, the style of play. So you can actually prepare for it a little bit better now, as opposed to just watching film and hoping and wishing that you understand. You actually can feel it. You have an understanding of what it feels like. So we understand it. It's kind of funny. We feel we're as talented as anyone, but someone did alert me and say that we are playing in the mini WNBA, because so many teams have gotten better in our league. So, but we're looking forward to being one of those teams that are able to compete at a high level, and last year's activities will prepare us for next year.
Coach, can you talk about getting Jordan and Dominica back up to speed after their injuries, and kind of where you see them in the lineup, like instant starters, where you see them filling in as well?
I can't tell everyone how excited. I can't express it well enough, how excited I am to have those two back. And we really were anticipating them being major contributors for us last year. And both of them got hurt, and they had a year to watch. And I think that people forget about them sometimes. Jordan is strong. She's talented. She's athletic. She's smart. She's gonna provide something for us that we didn't have last year, that we're excited about. She does some things on the floor that they're head scratchers. I'm like, how was she able to do that? Her experience is going to be very valuable to us. And then Dom got cleared yesterday, for full activity. So she ran in the gym, and I said, hey, look, don't get cleared and hurt on the same day, because she's jumping around with so much excitement. But that's what she brings to our program. She is so just full of enthusiasm, and that's the way she plays. With that energy. It's something we desperately needed last year. But, those two, with what they're able to do on the floor, it's really going to elevate us and to being able to do a lot of different things. Because both of them are 6'1". We can play small with them, but they're still long and athletic. But we can go extremely big. Their versatility is just going to provide something for us that I think a lot of people underestimate because they didn't play last year, or we didn't get them in the transfer portal this year, and so people forget about them. But they're a secret that we know about and we're excited about.
Clara, following up on Coach's comment about what lies ahead, you made quite a splash in the SEC this last year, especially for defense, obviously. Now your name is going to be one of the first that goes up on the whiteboard for scouting reports. How do you feel about what you anticipate within the SEC, teams coming at you?
Yeah, I think I'm just excited. Like Coach Brooks said, this year is really exciting for us. We have our experience already. I think last year coming in, not only did I not have a ton of experience in general in college basketball, but now I have a whole nother year in the SEC. So I think I'm excited and I'm ready for those challenges like that. But obviously I have an amazing team around me, so I think that will help a lot with all that.
The two young ladies coming back, how much do they help your game?
Yeah, definitely a lot. I've been watching them work out and stuff, like Coach Brooks said, and I'm just really excited to get on the floor with them. I haven't played with them at all, obviously, so I'm excited to see how that goes.
Jordan, Maggie, and Matt.
Coach, you seem to be a fan of five-star recruits, and they seem to be a fan of you as well. What can we expect out at KK Carroll, McDonald's All-American, just a couple months back?
KK is she's special on and off the floor. I think she's 18, but she acts like she's 38. She just has I don't know, just a wealth of knowledge. She's witty. She understands everything, but she's also a physical presence. She came in, and I kid you not, we thought she was 6'3", but I think she grew an inch, and she's like 6'4". And she shoots the basketball as well as anybody that I've seen. Her IQ is really high, and those are things that we covet. And when we got her, we knew it was special because not only did we think she was going to help us on the floor, we felt like she was going to help us in the recruiting, in the locker room. It's a seamless fit with her attitude, and she's a lot of fun to be around. She's a lot of fun to be around. She's got that typical Northern Boston quick wit. Tells a joke, and I have to think about it for 3 seconds before I get it. But she's that smart, and we're excited. She's actually having her first workout today right now, so we're excited for her. I think she's going to contribute a lot for us as a freshman.
Coach, you had some games announced today. I know this time last year you all were having to do everything just to get games on your schedule. How did that compare to how you built this schedule this year, and then any particular matchup standing out to you when you look at this year?
Yeah, it's harder. It really is. Last year when we started to build the schedule, it was harder than I thought, and we had some people even try to back out. They said we didn't sign up to play this Kentucky. We signed up to play a different Kentucky, and for us this year it was harder and harder. But I know that we released some games today, but I think we still got a couple more to be released. I think people will be excited about. The one thing that we really didn't get this year that I wanted was another marquee home game, but I anticipated that we were going to play a ACC challenge game here because we went last year on the road, and but for whatever reason it stuck us on the road again. So we'll just handle it. But we feel like we have a really good schedule that's going to challenge us with the chemistry, get us going. Our SEC schedule shifted. We no longer play Georgia twice. We play Vanderbilt twice, who Vanderbilt's going to be probably a top 15 team in order for us. So I thought we did a good job with the schedule. Like I said, we got a couple more games we have to announce that will challenge us and put us where we want to get to. But scheduling has become difficult, because not a lot of people want to play, and so it's really hard to try to find, those opponents that you want.
Did they give you an explanation for on the road again, ACC, SEC, or just that's what it is?
It's an explanation. It's not a good one, but it's an explanation. So, but it's it is difficult because we anticipated playing an ACC opponent here, and then when you put the schedule together, and then I think it just got released last week or so. Then you can't scramble to try to do other things because those marquee opponents already have their schedules done too. So just kind of put us behind the 8 ball a little bit. But we'll just do what they tell us.
Can you speak to the growth of the game itself and how much interest and how it has grown over the years, and the skill level of the young ladies who come in to the college game and where they're at?
Yeah.
And just the growth of the game.
Yeah, I think it's obvious the growth. Some people can call it the Caitlin Clark effect. I'm proud of the fact that when we played in the Final Four, that's kind of when the boom happened back in 2023, and we were a part of that as well. But I think more eyes have been on the sport, and people are starting to say that, hey, if you watch the game in its purest form, these young ladies are athletic. They just don't dunk. They do everything else. The moves that they make, some of the things that I watch them do, I marvel at. Because maybe 10 years ago, female athletes weren't doing those things, and a lot of it has to be just okay. What are we giving them? All right. If I'm going to say, well, Clara Strack is only a center, stay your butt on the block, am I helping grow the game? Because that's not the way the game is evolving. The game is evolving where you have 6'5" centers able to handle the basketball. And so we've always been a program that thinks outside the box. You have Teonni Key, a 6'4" unicorn, and so many people say, oh my gosh, she can handle the basketball. When she grabs a rebound, she goes full court and she makes a layup. To me, I think it's my responsibility as a coach to help continue the growth of the game. And the way that I feel like the game needs to grow is that it needs to be appealing to a lot of different people. Some people like the rock'em sock'em robot just fighting. Everybody get that? Rock'em sock'em robot? So they have no idea what I'm talking about. They some people want the game to be just as physical, knock each other down, but is that appeasing to the eye? Will you go back and watch the game again, knowing that it's just going to be a 53-52 game? Or do you want to see a free-flowing game that's 78-76? And so I think we as coaches have a responsibility because we're at a golden time right now. We really can take what we have, the excitement of surrounding women's basketball, and elevate it. Because you have so many eyes watching. But when you have eyes watching, it also can go the other way. So I think that we need to capitalize on this opportunity with everyone watching, and take it to another level and show what the game actually can be. And and obviously I played on the men's side, coached on the men's side, but it warms my heart when some people come up to me and they say that they love watching the women's game. Or sometimes they'll even say, I enjoy the women's game more because it's in its purest form. All right, well, now we have an opportunity to help grow the game. It's not a competition. We're not trying to be better than the men's game, but you want to be recognized in the same fashion so that a lot of fans will come and enjoy watching the basketball game. And I kind of said this last year, like we watched the Olympics last year. You watch the men's Olympic game, and you watch Steph Curry do what he did. Now, that's one of the most magical games I've ever seen. They played France, and then the very next night, the women's team played against France, and it was a different basketball game, and it wasn't as entertaining. But I think we can do that because our young women are as talented. They're more talented than they've ever been, and we need to capitalize on that. And I think I take that as a responsibility, and we'll try to do that. So when I'm out at Kroger signing autographs with Coach Pope, and somebody comes up to me and they say, why don't you put Clara on the block more? Thanks for coming, and I really appreciate it, but, that's the way we play because we're growing the game, because it would be an injustice to both of them if I just played them to their height. We want to play them to their skill set and continue to grow.
John Phoenix, Caroline Jordan Matthews.
Well, Kenny, I know you don't like looking backwards, but we didn't get a chance to speak with you after Cassidy Rowe left the team. You were pretty silent during that time. Is there anything else you would like to say about that, to just kind of put closure to that?
You know, I wasn't silent. It was just more of, if you want to get deeper, you know, I want to thank all of the young women for their contributions who are not with our team anymore. You know, a lot of them came in, and this is college basketball right now, or college athletics in general. It's different. A lot of movement, and it's different for the players, it's different for the coaches, and it's different for the fans. You know, a lot of people don't understand, you know, what goes into decisions, how things are. There's a lot of movement, and I, as a head coach, when I make decisions, every decision I make, 33% of the people are going to be happy. 33% of the people are going to be mad. 33% of the people are going to be indifferent. But I have to make decisions all across the board that I feel like are going to be best for Kentucky women's basketball. So in that situation, you know, obviously Cass is not here right now, and it's unfair for me to even talk about it because she and I were the ones who talked in that situation, and she's not here right now. You know, so everyone that was here, Clara Silva, Tana Becker, ST, you know, all of them, I thank them for their contributions. They're all in different places. I wish them nothing but the best in what they're going to do. But my responsibility is to make sure that we continue to grow, you know, as a basketball program. There's no hard feelings on our end with anyone because I learned that there's going to be a lot of movement. And when, you know, a player comes in, they say, can you guarantee me more? And this is not her, this is just players in general. Can you guarantee me more opportunities? And I say, I can't guarantee you them, all right? And then they make a decision to go somewhere else. You know, this day and age, you got to give them a big hug. You got to wish them well, and because there's growth, there's movement on both sides. And so I wasn't being silent. You know, one of the things that I've learned too is that you try to defend yourself in the media or in social media, you can't. And you can't. And for me to go out and say, I'm not going to say anything bad about, you know, one of these young people that I really appreciate their contributions, because that's what it looks like. You know, that's what it looks like. So last year was the best year I've ever had coaching, right? The best year. You can throw the Final Four year in there, you can throw championship years in there, and it was because of the young people that I got to work with. It was drama-free, all right? They weren't even late for a meeting, all right? Now I watched them grow when they had adversity staring them right in the face. When Dom and Jordan go down, and people are going to say, well, what are you going to be able to do? They didn't hesitate. They just stepped up. And so when we went through the whole year, I probably yelled as little as I've ever yelled in my career, you know, to the point where some of my former players came back and they were like, who are you? and it was because I enjoyed this whole group, every one of them. But then when you get to certain points, you know, sometimes there are decisions that are made. And I've gotten to the point in my career that, you know, I have to understand that I'm going to make some tough decisions, all right? And not everyone's going to like them. And you know, so then some people will, you know, they'll try to control the narrative, and some people will even say stuff like they know me. They don't know me. They don't know the situation. They don't know everything, you know. And if I were a bad person or if it was a bad situation, these two right here, as you mentioned, could have gone to play for the Celtics if they wanted to. You know, the Lakers would have taken them, all right. But they're here because we have such a tremendous culture, all right, tremendous culture. But it's not perfect. Everything's not perfect, and but I can honestly say I thank each and every one of them for their contributions. If any one of them who they're not here called me tomorrow and said, hey, can you do this for me? I wouldn't hesitate. And I would do it for them. It's just, this is life, you know, and my responsibility is to make sure that Kentucky women's basketball is positioning themselves to be as good as they can possibly be, and that's what we did. So I wasn't silent. It's just that I just didn't have the opportunity, and I wasn't running. You know, I don't have social media anymore, so don't try to look at me on social media. And my piece is great, and I absolutely love being with these kids.
This is for Tiani and Clara. We talked about Kaylin a little bit, but what's it been like watching, Tony and Asia and Josie, and how excited are you all to play with them?
It's been amazing, honestly. It's super exciting just to see all the different, their different strengths, like the different pieces that they're going to bring, and just getting to know them as individuals. I mean, like you said, we've been going for like a week or whatever. We've known them for a short amount of time, but just seeing like their personality shine through in the weight room and stuff like that, even in the training room, just getting to know them as people and seeing their work ethic and just, picking their brains about random things. It's really fun. I'm super excited because they're going to each bring, something different to the team, something exciting. So it's been great so far.
Yeah, I just have to go with what Tiani said. Obviously, we all are just coming back, so we haven't had a lot of time yet. But I'm really excited. I think that just looking at our chemistry already, like in the weight room today and things like that, it's just picking right back up where it left off last year. So I think they're just fitting right in. So I'm really excited to start working out more with them and see how that goes.
Caroline Jordan,
This one's also for Tiani and Clara. You talk about chemistry, you talk about trying to build it. I know this is not a group that does icebreakers or those kinds of things, but you did participate in like the building of what was great chemistry last season. Anything you can take from that going into this year with this new group?
Yeah, I think we talked about like our core like base that we have returning from last year, and I think even in like postseason last year, just the way we all got along, I think that sets a narrative for the new transfers coming in, and I think that they can just like see the way we interact, see the way we act, and I think build off of that and like learn how that goes like that. Obviously last year we did have that great chemistry built naturally, as Coach Brooks would say. But yeah, I think the way that I think we have 7 returning, and we all get along really well, so just the newcomers being able to learn off that.
Yeah, exactly. I think even in such a short time, we've already established great chemistry with them. Like Coach Brooks bought us a pool, so we've all been hanging out and just getting to know each other. Just building off what we have, and it's been super fun so far. Just getting to know everyone.
Obviously, everyone here in Kentucky knows about the triplets after last season, and I'm sure the rest of the SEC is well aware as well. For Tiani and Clara, what are the expectations you all have for yourselves, and how high and how far can you take this team?
I think our expectations are honestly just building off what we had, just getting better as individuals, getting better as a team, honestly, like being more, now that we are, the really core group, the veterans and everything, just like bringing everybody along, setting that example, leading by example, leading more vocally, and just helping keep the foundation, honestly, like just building off what we had and just bringing everybody along. Like I think going back to Dom and Jordan, having them, they're going to be great additions to our versatility and everything that we bring as a team. So I think just even outside of the triplets, like everybody just growing, and it's going to be a really fun year just to see our style of play defensively, offensively, on the court, off the court. It's just going to be really good, just expanding with all of it.
Yeah. Go? No, yeah, I'm good.
I was going to ask about the third triplet, about Amelia. Coach, it seemed like she had to spend a lot of time last season playing almost out of position, filling a lot of different roles. Where do you see her fitting in to this roster?
I think she's going to be more comfortable. And obviously, I think we were hard on Amelia last year just because we needed her to guard the best player, rebound the basketball on both ends, all right, and then make shots, all the while playing 30-some minutes a game. And I thought she had a tremendous year. I mean, she really did. I think now with added help and her being able to be, more natural in her position, I think she's going to be a lot more productive for us. And I'm excited for her. I appreciate everything she did for us. To know Millie, Millie's got a big smile on her face, and she's just happy. She's very happy to be here. It's literally because she was in Australia and it's winter. And then she came back, and I think she tried to get her suntan back in one day. Now she's burnt. But, you know, she walks into her room, man, and you just immediately smile. And so I thought she had a really good year last year. When I look back on it, I thought she had a really good year. And I'm excited for her to be able to play, you know, off of everyone here now and have some more help where she can be fresher and she can get help where she has to do so much and she can focus on, you know, certain things.
We'll close it with Dick unless there's anything pressing. We'll go Dick and
So Teonni, it seemed like last year, you know, Georgia could have a big game, Clara could do great things, but you were in there doing the dirty work, you know, especially in the SEC games. And it looked like your game evolved to that end. Was I reading that right? And tell me a little bit about that process and what you expect this coming year in terms of being even better in the most physical league in college basketball.
Yeah, I think honestly a big focus throughout the season, through the postseason, and even now, it just was just doing the little things, focusing on the little things. Like Coach Rook says a lot, it's not how fast you do it, it's how you do it. So like just focusing on those little things and doing them well, and just getting stronger, being, like you said, doing the dirty work, doing whatever the team needs. Honestly, just being helpful in any ways, what I strive to do. So I think, you know, each team in the SEC brings something a little bit different. It's very similar though, but just reading the game, honestly, just figuring out what we need and how I can help. I think that's always my focus.
What was it like banging around in there with all those bigs?
Yeah, it definitely showed me a lot about myself. Definitely just, you know, getting stronger, I think was like a big focus, honestly, just like, dang, like, yeah, like you said, banging around, I think it was fun, but it also showed me like some things I need to work on as well. And I think, you know, taking that experience and adding it to the postseason, to this new season, preseason, all that, just like I said, growing from that, just taking all of that, absorbing it, and then moving forward, you know.
If I can add to that, like Tiani, last year was her first year with a prominent role. You know, her first 3 at UNC, very limited. I don't know if, you know, the confidence was there, if it was instilled in her. She got here last year, and it probably took her a while to understand that, you know, we all believed in her wholeheartedly, and we needed her to just go out there and play. And today I was just telling her she needs to love herself as much as I love her, and to have that kind of, you know, attitude and go out, because Tiani showed us last year, you know, what she's capable of doing, number one, but she was quickly our enforcer. You know, if there was a little scuffle, Tiani had a whole different personality, and she was coming through and like, you know, don't you mess with us. And then this one over here started to follow suit, and you know, so it kind of became an attitude that, you know, yeah, we're tall, we're lean, but we're also tough. And I think a lot of people, it was fun to watch going into the SEC, and I've had coaches even tell me this, that we were a lot longer and more athletic than they anticipated, you know, because you watched people and they tried to isolate us. They were like, okay, well, they're not as fast. We're going to take them off the dribble. And then all of a sudden, we were blocking their shots. And but Tiani was a big part of that. And, you know, these two together, they're a great duo. But I'm looking forward to bigger things from her this year, because she's going to